Today I'm going to be telling you about the nervous system. Some of the most important terms that you need to know include the autonomic nervous system, which is the involuntary part of the nervous system. This controls the organs such as your heart and your lungs that you have no conscious control of, and also the glands in your body. The somatic nervous system is the voluntary part of the nervous system that controls the conscious movement of the limbs and other parts, such as your hands and your feet and your jaw chewing your food. Your brain is the most important part of the nervous system. It is part of the central nervous system and is contained in the skull. The central nervous system is a division of the total system that consists of the brain and the spinal cord. The spinal cord is a column of nerve tissue that runs from the base of the skull down the spine where the peripheral nerves attach. The peripheral nervous system is the second division of the total system that consists of the peripheral nerves. These include the cranial and the spinal nerves. So the central nervous system consists of your brain and spinal cord. And from there, the peripheral nerves branch off and go throughout your entire body. Your nerves are a bundle of fibers that receive and send messages between the body and the brain. These messages are sent by chemical changes. Neurons, however, are a type of cell that receives and sends messages from the body to the brain and back to the body by electrical currents, not by chemical changes. The sympathetic nervous system is the system that increases the heart rate, blood pressure, breathing rate, and pupil size in response to threatening stimuli. So if you've ever heard the term the fight or flight response, this is what they're referring to. The parasympathetic nervous system is the opposite. So this is what calms you back down and brings your body back to homeostasis by slowing your heart rate, decreasing breathing rate, and pupil size after the threat is no longer present. Here is some anatomy of the nervous system. Again, this system consists of the nerve cells, nerves, the brain, and the spinal cord. Here on the right, you will see the graphic which highlights the central nervous system in pink and the peripheral nervous system in blue. All these parts work together to send stimuli and relay messages that trigger reactions throughout the body. So these are literally your eyes and your ears of your body. Here are some diagnostic procedures. The computed tomography scan, or commonly referred to as the CAT scan, is a procedure that uses a combination of X-rays and computer technology to produce horizontal or axial images of the body. Electroencephalogram, or an EEG, is a procedure that records the brain's continuous electrical activity by means of electrodes attached to the scalp. Magnetic resonance imaging, or MRI, which is one of the most common procedures, uses a combination of large magnets, radio frequencies, and a computer to produce detailed images of organs and tissues within the body. Position emission tomography, or PET, is used mostly in nuclear medicine, and it is a procedure that measures the metabolic activity of the cells. Here's the good one that is talked about a lot in our medical terminology book, the spinal tap, or lumbar puncture, which is where they use a special needle that is placed into your spinal canal in your lower back. And from there, they can either remove the cerebral spinal fluid, the CSF, or they can also inject medication like they would in, say, an epidural. Here is another diagram, and again, it shows the division of the central nervous system compared to the peripheral nervous system in blue. And it also gets into detail labeling the individual nerves, such as the ulnar nerve, the median nerve, things like that, the tibial nerve on the lower leg. Some of the medical surgical procedures are the skull base surgery. This is to remove benign or cancerous growths or abnormalities on the underside of the brain, the base of the skull, or the top few vertebrae. Another one is the MRI guided laser ablation. This is a minimally invasive surgery and it is mainly used for brain tumors. Microsurgical clipping is a technique that cuts off the blood supply to a brain aneurysm, either to prevent it from rupturing, or if it has already ruptured, it's going to stop the bleeding. Some more procedures are disc replacement, which is going to replace a worn or degenerated disc in the spine with an artificial replacement. A lot of these replacements are made of plastic. Foraminotomy is a surgery that makes the area around one of those vertebrae larger to relieve pressure on a compressed nerve. A craniotomy is the surgical removal of a part of the skull bone to expose the brain for surgery and replacement of the bone after the surgery is complete. Here is another graphic. This one is unique because not only does it show the separate lobes of the brain, but it also is showing you the organs that are controlled in the autonomic versus the somatic nervous system. Here is a good quote from the book. I chose this quote because I felt it really just summed up the entire system. The nervous system coordinates voluntary activities such as walking, talking, and eating. It also controls involuntary functions such as reflexes to pain, body changes related to stress, and processes related to thought and emotion. So here's just an overview of what I have presented to you today. This is basically just to remind you of the most important aspects. The nervous system is made up of the brain, spinal cord, and the peripheral nerves. The brain and spinal cord are what is referred to as the central nervous system, which is the control center for the entire body. The peripheral nerves, which include the cranial and the spinal nerves, are referred to as the peripheral nervous system. All of the nervous system consists of two cell types, neurons and neuroglia. Neurons are the message carriers of the system, whereas the neuroglia perform the functions of support and protection. Also, here's a list of my sources. In the middle, we have the Medical Terminology Express book, which is our textbook for this class. And then on either side are just the websites that I use to find most of my information. Thank you for listening.